There we are. Anybody know this plant?
Cattail?
Yes. Supermarket of the swamp. Because at any time of year, pretty much, there's something you can eat on the plant. And but it's different at each time of year. So this time of year, the thing you want to eat is right at the base. You see how white this is? There's a core. This stuff in here is really good, full of starch. All you do is you get into the inside where it's like soft enough that you can just like smush it. Because the outside will be fibery and there's not much food in it. That's full of starch. If you gather enough of these, you have a meal. So here's a dandelion. We're all familiar with that. Again, with these, you can have the leaves, you can eat the leaves when they're very new. They're less bitter then, they're a little less stringy, you know, small. They'll look a little different. I don't see any here that I would, well, maybe this one I want to eat. If you dig up the roots and roast it and chop it up, you can make a coffee substitute like people do with chicory, which I think chicory is related.
Makes a nice tea too, the flowers.
Yes, you can make a tea out of the leaves when they're new and the flowers.
You can stir fry the dandelion greens.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And because we don't have a lot of Solomon seal, I'm not going to rip it right out. Because this will kill it. Pulling leaves off of things usually doesn't kill it. If I pull a root out of the ground, it's dead. I don't want to kill it. So you'll have to come really close.
Oh.
But there's this sideways root-like thing, rhizome.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And it's called Solomon seal because if you look every so often, there's this little round mark, and it kind of resembles a wax seal. Like when the king pushes his ring into the wax seal, kind of looks like that.
Oh, a seal.
False Solomon seal also has that. And actually what that mark is, that's a good non-dirty example, is the scar from last year's stalk. So this was the first year it grew a stalk. Then it got bigger, grew a stalk, bigger. All through here is stored starch. So this is, if I'm lost in the woods and I'm looking for calories, this is what I eat. You'll cook it like a root vegetable and eat it. Any starchy thing you'll get more from it if you cook it. As you're getting to know plants, it's good to learn the families because sometimes that gives you a huge clue right off the bat. You don't even need to know the species. I know what family this is because it has what we call a double umbel flower arrangement. So down here it opens like an umbrella, and then again right there it opens like an umbrella. Twice, so double umbel. So anything with a double umbel is in the parsley carrot family. Some things like parsley and carrot are very edible. Some things like water hemlock and poison hemlock are deadly. So as soon as I look at this and I know the family, I know I have to be very wary and careful. And I got to get my identification 100% right on the species with no doubts. Yeah, so no one else has to. I'm not actually in it, but it's on either side of me. I don't want that. See this pretty little delicate guy here? Anybody know that plant?
Solomon seal?
Yeah.
Solomon seal, yeah. So,
And there's two kinds.
yeah, that's right. Do you
And
remember?
That's the real Solomon
This
seal.
is the, how'd you know?
Because the false one has the seeds growing in the front and the real
Yes.
one has them growing underneath.
So, there's Solomon seal and false Solomon seal. And they're without this, the flowers and then eventually the seeds. This is in transition, probably between the flowers and the seeds because I see a little bulge in there. The flower of the Solomon seal come out of the axil of the leaves, sometimes in pairs. See how these are in pairs? And sometimes singularly. There's a couple different species. In front of the museum and the plantings, there's the greater Solomon seal, which gets like this big. The false Solomon seal has a little spray of flowers out the tip. Those eventually turn to berries. Their berries are red and speckled, kind of silvery white. These berries are like dark blue, almost black, kind of a cool color.